G'day and welcome everybody, my name's Matt. I am from DIY Data. I've got a blog at diydata.wordpress.com. Haven't updated in a while, but I need to add some stuff to it. So yeah, anyway, today I am going to try to go through a electronic circuit. Recently I've got a few practice PCB boards. So I started with this one, which is, I bought a couple of these like years ago and it's just been kicking around in my stuff. Just SMD Practice devices. Went through those, they're not too bad. Been playing around with SMD stuff recently. And then I went to this one, went through it. Kind of interesting. They're pretty cheap from AliExpress. A couple of dollars each. You can kind of. The thing I like about these ones is that they actually got a circuit on them, and it's like a 555 timer and a 4017. Like, what do you call that? It's a kind of incremental IC, so every time it gives a pulse it moves along and you get a little LED moving kind of along. This one I never got to work solidly. If you look close, I'll go up close, you will see, you might be able to see, hopefully you can see. Let's see if we can focus on that. These resistors here are just jumpers, but if you get up close, the resistors on the ones that aren't just jumpers are 0 ohms, and I had all those resistors out on a tray and knocked them over basically, so I had to go back to figuring out a jumper. There's a probably the one off. Oh, probably the one. Oh, that's a diode. Anyway, and you'll also see that some of the LEDs are missing. That's partly because I again yeeted them off, because the SMD stuff, you find there's always at least one component that I'll have in my tweezers and they'll just go and be gone. And as you can see around from the workbench area, it's kind of a little bit of a mess right now. So I did have this one working, but I think this one was the one it never worked properly. I did a bunch of troubleshooting, but in the end just was like, it's close enough, we'll go on to the next one, which is this one. This one has a whole bunch more parts. Can we get close enough to get the whole board in? Maybe I should chuck it in the holder, and then we know we're not going to kind of go out of shot because it's in the shot. This one's pretty neat because it's basically the same circuit as the other one, but so you got your 555 timer, your 4017 chip there, bunch of resistors, capacitors, the timing circuit. The difference with this one is it has a bunch of transistors, so instead of just driving the LEDs basically directly from the chip, they're kind of switching them through a set of transistors. I think that's just done purely as a soldering transistors onto a test board kind of thing. I can't see any reason why it would need to be done. But as I said, these are all test practice SMD boards. Of course, it wouldn't be a project without having to troubleshoot and improvise. First thing is I accidentally yeeted one of the LEDs away, never to be seen again. So that's what I had to actually pinch one of the LEDs from this board, so I could have a full run of LEDs. And I was having trouble getting this one working. The 47 tahine seemed to be working, like I could kind of bridge out the clock pin and advance it through, and using my little logic probe, seemed to be that the 555 timer wasn't working. I had to troubleshoot that by trying to figure out what part of the timing circuit. I figured it was part of the timing circuit that wasn't kind of going, because it was getting power and everything. And I basically kind of bypassed each lot of these resistor arrays. And if you look closely, and if you can see, it looks like, you look closely, there's a bunch of these pads here that don't have anything on them. They had some little resistor arrays. So we've got the circuit board here. So that's these here. And again, as is the way, I managed to flick. Firstly, I flicked one off, and I tried bridging it with just some bridging wire. That didn't seem to work. I don't know if it had issues somewhere else, or the resistance was too low, missing one of those, but it wasn't working. I wish that would stay in focus. So what I had to do in the end was switch out some things. So I've got a schematic here that you probably can't see all of, but we can see the 555 time part. Kind of, this is just for a there's a baby 8 sequencer, which is literally just this circuit. So it's this circuit essentially. They're kind of a basic modular synthesizer DIY project, which I do have one of. I made, but anyway, just substituting kind of similar resistors and capacitors into the circuit. And I started by bypassing these ones. That didn't seem to change anything. Bypassed the capacitors. That didn't seem to change anything. Bypassed this set of resistors, which then started working. The resistor I initially used was flickering real fast, and just to keep things kind of SMD sized, I've got a little box of SMD resistors and components that I've desoldered from things in practice and playing around, and I couldn't find one that was close to the, what was I trying to go for, about 10, I was looking for about 5k. So this project has a 10k variable resistor to change the timing, and that's kind of the timing circuit there. So I was like, alright, let's half that, pick one in the middle, go about 5k. I think what we ended up with was about 2.4k and about 2.7k, so close enough. Like it's not a precise timing thing or anything, so it doesn't really matter. Did that, and it works. If I, because I don't really have a convenient way of powering that. Well, I do not have a convenient way of getting power to that. I'm trying to think. Just need like do I have a variable power supply or a 5-volt power supply that I can easily. Yep, this one is. This one's a variable power supply that will go down to like 6 volts. 6 volts should be close enough. I have to get it out of the bundle. It's currently, look, is it going to be easier just to get a different one? No matter how much you try to keep things like your power supply bucket tidy, I literally got the zip ties and everything, trying to keep it all intact, still end up with a jungle of wires. Alright, want that on 6 volts. Find the power outlet for it. And just for some testing, we are going to try and find a couple of... why won't that... Why will not that open? You know, a couple of jumper leads, little alligator clips. We'll do the trick. This power supply doesn't have a on. It's just on. Okie dokie, that is the negative. Let's go to the negative. This is the positive. We'll go to the positive. Yeah, we get it on, and there you go. That is showing this circuit working. When you start looking at LED projects or simple kind of kit projects on AliExpress and stuff, be surprised how common. Basically, I'll go wide. This circuit is. So yeah, it's just like a chaser circuit with the 2 chips, the 555 timer, the 4017 incremental 10-digit driver. Very kind of all over the place. There's like flashing lights that are like kind of police light simulators and stuff that literally just have 2 different ones, but they're literally using this chip as well, some of them, to just kind of route it back to the reset, so it only ever counts to 2 basically, and goes on. But yeah, that is that working. What I was planning on doing for right now is we've got another one. It's literally another case of the exact same circuit, but instead of having a bunch of different values to kind of make up as a practice board, this is not so much a practice board but a actual just the components you need to make the flashing light system. So I thought that might make a nice little video. So what I'll do right now is disconnect that. Can I point that? I'll point that there. Kind of gives us a shot that is actually kind of maybe a little bit useful for a second shot if I so decided. Anyway, get rid of that. Get rid of this. Can I move that to there? We are going to start by finding a tray that I can tip these components into. There we go. And these all these kits, the thing to be aware of is that they have the most basic instructions, and or the instructions are in Chinese, which, I mean, if you just kind of literally try and do this and have no idea what you're doing, probably helps. I guess I've played around with these enough and been playing with these kind of LED chaser circuits for a little while now, so it's kind of starting to get an idea of them. So while it was kind of interesting to try to figure out what goes where, particularly when your resistors, this kind of has things spelled out a little bit, but they're not like a fixed resistance. It's just kind of somewhere in the ballpark. Like that, they're all the same because they just come on a ribbon, but you had to figure that out yourself. So, I mean, this is a pretty basic circuit. If you look at those, you probably can't even see that very well, but it's basically the same circuit. Except interestingly, this is using 1K resistors instead of driving it straight from the 4017. But yeah. Alright, let's get this thing in the holder. Trying to figure out the easiest way to hold this so I can get the most, or maybe that way. Get the most. What we'll do is shove those up top there, so we've kind of got a bit to sit that on. And what I'll do right now is show you my current soldering iron, which is a what are they? T12 tips. I've got a few of the T12 tips now. These are the cartridge style heating element included in the tip soldering irons. Been using this fine hook for, I mean, I've been playing around with all the tips. Doing the last couple of projects, I've been using this kind of bent tip for the SMD stuff. Seems to be working surprisingly well. Previously I had a soldering iron that it was a straight but fine tip, and I hated it. But I'm finding this to be pretty good, particularly for this kind of circuits. The T12 soldering irons are this all-in-one unit, so there's no base station. You plug it in, it kind of heats up. It's been fantastic, I really like it. The only problem I've had is that at one point the OLED display started kind of flickering, doing weird stuff. Had to pull it apart to try to figure that out, and it turned out that there must have been a weak connection to the OLED display, because kind of desoldered it, put it on had another LED display that wasn't quite the right one, but it kind of connected, seemed to work-ish. Put this one back on and everything started working. So, seems like it was just a weak connection on the display itself. But for the $25 or whatever this cost, it's been brilliant. I really like it. Been using it a heap. Kind of want to get a T12 station. A couple of soldering stations that I have are ancient. I mean, they do the job. I won't lie. They're doing just regular through-hole stuff and making up XLR cables and whatnot. Does the job. Works fantastically. But this guy has really come into its own doing the PCB stuff. Doing the SMD stuff, I mean. But, yeah, anyway, that's my soldering iron. Let's try to move it a little bit closer so I can actually reach it. And to power it, you can buy these that come with a power supply, but the beauty of them is you can run them from anything from like 12 to 18 volts, I think. 19 volts or up to 24 volts these will take, and the higher you run them, the more the higher wattage you get out of them. But they work fantastically from old laptop power supply. The 19 volts kind of the power supply I'm using, I don't know where the other end of it is like 120 watt old gaming laptop power supply. Plug it in, kind of does this, kind of goes error. The error goes away shortly once the tip heats up past the point. And there you go, it's basically at temperature. I might knock that down a bit. But yeah, that is the soldering iron. So let's get started doing a bit of soldering. What do we want to start on? Probably those resistors, I reckon. So, should we get up close? How close to that? Yeah, there we go. We'll just focus on that. That would be good. I don't really want to do this. That's the whole thing that's not in focus. What we will do is go along and tune these pads. And just go going. Tune a couple of these other pads. Ready to after doing all the other ones, so this has got like so few components. Let's see how many of the components we can manage not to flick off into the abyss. It's upside down. And possibly out of focus, I can't tell. But the thing I like about this kit is they've actually written the size of the components on the silk screen of the board. That makes things a lot easier. Let's get something to tip out those. Kind of just like these are all the 1K resistors, 102, yeah. Got the morning cockatoos out today, I don't know if you can hear those. Be surprised if you can't, to be honest. Did that open them up? I don't have to get them all out. Probably just did that with my arm on over the camera. How about? The biggest kind of issue I have with some of these is I can understand that it's a kit, so you get what you need to do it, but it's very easy to lose these SMD components, and then you're kind of stuck. We're just going to go along, kind of like them all. That's the other thing, is getting them. So this end, I reckon. That one. Need a bit more solder on that other end. Come on, get on there. You're being a pain in the rear, aren't you? There you go. We will. Got a friend for you. There you go. And then there you go. And kind of hoping that I can do this one without having to troubleshoot it a bunch. Fairly straightforward. This time it would just be the lack of adhesion of the solder or something somewhere. That's alright, just flipped it up the right way for me. Always a challenge to get them to be facing up. And then you do that and it'll flip exactly one time over. That didn't even solder. Come on, buddy, come on. It's very awkward. Come on, why don't you, there you go. What my plan here is just to get these all on the board, then we'll run across the other side of them. Oh, that was handy. And probably come back down this side as well, just to make sure everything's adhered a bit. Probably could do with a little bit of flux on this actually. Come on, buddy, there you go. Yeah, we'll flip it on there. Everything just give it a bit of flux. Probably should have done that to start with, but it's alright. It's alright. Don't fly away. I won't have to try to find another one to match you. And have they given us an extra one? Or is there a... I think nicely. This one, they did give us one extra one. What I'm going to do now, just flip that around, hopefully keep it on the screen so we can see it. Get a bit of solder. And then we are going to just quickly run down this side. I'm not going to say my SMD soldering skills are particularly fantastic, but they're getting there. After doing a couple of these kits, I kind of slowly getting the hang of it. I know that with the solder, they'll usually say the thinner the better. I've got like, I don't know what is it, like 0.8mm solder or something. I think it's 0.7. At some point maybe I'll get some 0.5 or something, but for now, using what I've got, it's doing the trick. Kind of run that down there, kind of get that out. Really a bit of solder. What we'll do now, kind of get that on the screen. Just kind of do the same here. Make sure there's kind of a decent amount of solder on each side. There we go, that's the 1K resistor soldered. I don't think there's any other 1K resistors. That's the other thing you get, like, they're 1K, like they're 102 resistors. But the instructions board is actually saying that there's, oh no, I'm just reading it wrong. 1K, 10. Yeah, so don't mind me, I'm just reading it wrong. What next? The other two resistors, I guess, is probably the thing to start at. They're going to be interesting to get out because I don't know if you can. It's just one. Let's put this guy back in that tray. The 110K. And one is 2.2K? Yeah, 2.2K. So 10K, 2K, okay. And 2.2K. I'm guessing, it says, just says 2K there, not 2.2K. Your focus. Get that one out, chuck that in the bin. I'm trying real hard not to buy more stuff because we have 2 babies coming. We've got twins on the way. So that is going to keep us busy and financially on our toes for a little while. So I'm trying to kind of do things with what I've got at the moment, even though I've kind of bought a couple of bits like this recently. But the beauty of these things is they're so damn cheap. But yeah, we'll hold off buying stuff. Just have to do with what we got, which is a fair bit of stuff. I've got a fair bit of stuff here. I should do a video of my bodged up little synthesizer that I'm messing around with. That's kind of what got me started on all of this, to be honest. But I did have the thought that this, because it is basically the same circuit as the Baby 8 step sequencer, that you could probably take this circuit and turn it into a Baby 8 step sequencer, add a bit onto the kind of LED circuit part of it. Come on, buddy. Oh, I saw where that went. Where did it go? Did it go in that box or did it go under that box? This is the perils of SMD making. Oh, I just found one of the chips I yeeted from that other board. That is one of the little LED arrays. Can I zoom in? Can I be all like, yo, focus there. It's not very good because it's a digital zoom, but little tiny SMD. Zoom all the way out. Just let me go back to the normal camera. I want that one. So focus on that. That's all right, I thought it went. I'm going to stick to the bottom of this. These are the perils of SMD work, using the exact amount of components as you need to do the project. Oh, sorry, just making it shake. Oh, there it is. That might be it. Come on. Use that. Stop shaking you. Shake and bake. 103, so that's it. Yes. Yes, 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 it is. Yes, 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 it is. Of course, I'm doing this. Problem with this camera is it's using my phone and it keeps focusing on dumb shit. So I'm sorry if half of this video is going to be out of focus. Try. That looks pretty good. For the longest time, when it came to SMD work, I was like, oh, that's too much. That's too much work. But since I've done these kits, it's not that hard. Like, it's not that hard to do a rough job, but a functional job. Get these capacitors, which by the looks of it are both 1 UF, so they're both the same, which makes sense because they're both coming out of the same packet. Let's get rid of that thing because that doesn't need to be on here. Are we in somewhat focus? Like, what happened to that solar? There we go. Then we silver it up. Come on, buddy. Come on, trying to get. Alright. I'm whacking you there. Don't focus on that, focus on that. There you go. Sometimes it actually works if I do this. Can I get both sides? Come on, I need a little bit of flux or something like that. Let's whack a little bit of flux. We'll get some flux on these pads too while we're there, because we'll do those next, I think. Easy there. Then we reflow this. Alright, I think that's good. Let's get this 4017 chip on and get up the right way. So The dot goes to the cutout end. So then goes, make it a bit more of the full screen. I may be able to tilt it just a smidge over towards the camera. I don't want to go too far. Trying to get that lined up as close as possible. And trying to get that soldered in there. One corner. I mean, it kind of needs to come. We can get it moved over there a bit. It's more central on the pads. Then I think that looks pretty good. So let's kind of this is where maybe a flatter tip probably would work better for this, but my kind of, if you want to do it individually instead of doing this godforsaken blob mess, you kind of probably, the tips that I should be using to do this would be that one. I see it. Can you get it? Can we get it in focus? Get it in focus. Just a little, like, what do you call that? Not a chisel tip, kind of. It's a, here you go, I'll find the big one. It's just a smaller version of that, basically, with the big flat side. Which is hard to see shit because it's all out of focus, but yeah, it's just maybe we'll swap over and do the 555 timer with that one just for shits and giggles. But it's almost 9 o'clock. So dog's barking because when I came out here, I figured the dogs would follow me, but neither of them wanted to follow. Now you can see that from a mile away that's bridged far too much. And I know that. This is kind of what I do. It's probably a bit of a waste, I guess, but kind of works if we get this on here. Come on, just suck it up a bit. And I guess since we're going, we'll flip that around. It's going to be easier to do this if I flip that around. 43 minutes. Nobody's going to watch this video, but I'll probably upload it. Particularly at 40, it's going to be like an hour video by the time I get done. Those ones look good. Those ones look good. Now, I don't have any fancy microscope or anything at the moment, but what I do have is this little JAWS loop, which allows me to kind of get my head in here and kind of go, yeah, they all good. They look all fine. Next one I'm going to do is going to be the 555 chip. So what we're going to do with that one, as I said, this soldering tip is a little, probably the wrong one to be using. Well, that's kind of the beauty with these things, even though I've been running this soldering iron for like, I don't know, almost an hour. I can still kind of get that out with my fingers. Probably not the best idea, but it does work. Yep, sorry, knocking you. Oh, that tip is hot though. Just don't touch the actual pointy part because it will be salty. I'll get this like fine little one on, and to put them in you literally just go put it in, find the collar. I think you can get some of the kind of pencil soldering irons where you can literally just pull it in and out and stuff, and that's probably what I'll get when I get around to getting a benchtop one. Alright. And I'll try to get that on screen, and you go plug that in. It's about 10 seconds, well that's about 10 seconds from plugging the power in. If you could see the tip, it's kind of heating up. So that's about 15 seconds to get full temperature at 300 degrees. Alrighty, where is that 5 chip? Upside down like everything. Wants to stay upside down like everything. Right, currently we're not focused on shit. Currently we're pointing in the wrong direction. Of course it ends up the wrong way again. On the board you can see the little scoop out of it. That scoop is the dot end. So yeah, we will get that lined up a bit. Get that. I just bend that out of the way. I feel like I might just. Did I mention I'm not the world's greatest SMD solderer? Kind of really only started with it in the last couple of months, really. Come on, buddy. Kind of Now here's where I wish I had the other tip, because I was trying to do this a bit better than I did the first one, without the giant overkill solder method. Sometimes overkill seems to work. Get it on and off. This is not a how-to, this is just me doing it. I get it almost. I just want to straighten up just a smidge. Yeah, that'll do. But I can do this slightly better than this. Are you going to focus? Focus like that. Now it's about as focused as it's going to get. Because my thinking with this one was going to be, instead of doing the big blob, we were going to do this. We're going to be like, here'll be a solder on there. And see, it doesn't do shit. We're going to whack a bit of flux on top of that. Is that on? I don't know. Alright. That's that. Let me get up close and have a quick look at that. Get this glare off it. Yeah, it looks okay. And the only components we have left are a bunch of LEDs, which we will put in, and short / flat sides the cathode. I want to get this done in one sitting, basically. And the variable resistor, that was the other thing we have to put on there. Little potentiometer. The through-hole parts are easy once you start doing that. Yeah, just maybe snap that in. Sometimes these will kind of just kind of pop, but not this one. That's all in there. Move that out a little bit to there, so then get the other two in. And that's all that works. Now what I'm going to do here, you can see all these, just so they don't flip out. Ah, the wheel fell off my pan of ice. This is going to be a lot of spin these so they don't fall out as soon as I turn the thing upside down. And then we're going to turn it upside down. Do some through-hole soldering. There's the wheel. You're struggling. Why are you struggling? I'm going to up that temperature-wise, not that much. Put it up to like. Is that still recording? I hope so, because that's my sound. Come on. Alrighty. Alright, now they're all got a leg, so we can hopefully pull them up so they're all flush. Oh, that one didn't get a good bit of solder on it, did it? Can we do this in the next 5 minutes? We will see. That'll make it an hour video. What was the one I did? That one. Come on, there you go. All right, that's okay. What I'm going to do now is trim them. I haven't fully soldered them, I still have to do the other side. But because this is going to send shrapnel everywhere, I'm going to do this kind of off camera over a bin. You know, I might be able to switch to the webcam. I mean, it's not our final selection of soldering, like trimming, or just to get them out of the way a little bit. There we go. Let's go through and do the other side now. There are some that still need a little bit of a and then we have that white on this is helpful. Come on. There you go. And since we're here, chuck some solder on this guy. Try to get that pushed up as high down as like it wants to be. Come on. Down as much as it wants to be. That's our potentiometer on. Alright, now I think that is much better. This is wild eggs all over the place, but I'm going to do this not on the camera at all. Yeah, let's just make sure there's a couple of look a bit shitty. Do this on camera, trying to line up. Yeah, you know what, that'll do for now. And the last component that's on here is a power connector, which I guess we will quickly solder on because it'll probably make it a little bit easier to power this up in a second or two, and then I'm going to go inside and make myself coffee. I need a bit of solder. Can I use this tiny last skerrick of solder? Use a pair of tweezers to get it. Let's just make sure that's poked. Is that poked all the way up? That's poked all the way up. That's fine. That'll do the job. And we'll try a little bit of solder. Where is it gone? That's looking pretty good, that's looking pretty good, that's looking pretty good, that's looking pretty good. So, yeah, I didn't do it in the 5 minutes. It's been a couple of minutes over. But that should be one light chasing circuit done. So what I'll do right now is unplug my soldering iron because I think we're done there. We'll go back to the wide to get full impact of my messy bench. Can we grab my wheel so I can... Oh, there goes my wireless microphone. I'm still making sound, yes. Didn't just break the mic on my microphone. Let's crank this down, 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 down. I do like this little pan of ice, but it takes ages going from small to big and big to small PCBs. Yeah. Let's have a look, see if they're nice enough to tell us. What kind of voltage to run this from. Of course they are not. I guess we start with the 5 volts that we were, or 6 volts that we were running the other one on. If that doesn't work, we'll up it to 12. Let's just bend these out a little bit. Where's the other alligator clip gone? It's on the floor. That's the other thing I find is everything ends up on the floor here. That's probably a side effect of having all this mess. I think I can't really blame anybody but myself for that. I do clean it up. Just overdue for a clean up. Can we get that? That's a no-go. You can see if we increase the voltage to it. Okay. That is something smoking. What's smoking? Woo! Might have just fried that triple timer chip. 555 timer. That looks like them. Is it warm? Woo! Yep, both those are warm. Okay, so I think I have a short. Is that running on? Did I turn that or turn it off? So, okay. Some's like there, I'm not sure what the status of those chips are. On the upside, I do have another board. I can steal them off if I fry it. This is already like an hour long. I think I'm going to probably stop this one here. But probably you may or may not have seen that, but that is still that's still hot. So both the point where that's still smoking, still kind of vaporizing the flux. I'm pretty sure I turned that off. Let's fully disconnect that. Yeah, so I'm going to stop this one here because it is quite a long video already. What I might do is another video later of me trying to troubleshoot this, trying to figure out if I've got a short somewhere. I was hoping I could get this done without having to do a whole bunch of troubleshooting. That's not how this works. Anyway, my name's Matt, I'm from DIY Data. This is a work in progress attempt at making a 555 4017 LED chaser circuit and getting 2 burnt fingers because those things are hot. Yeah, alright. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll catch you later.